From things like the various Animal Crossing mangas through the anime, to other things like dish sets and the recent LEGO announcement, Animal Crossing has had a lot of interesting merchandise and other types of crossovers over the years, and it's always really interesting to look at some of the weird examples or interesting things that have popped up over the years. So we're looking at everything today. So ready, set, go. So one thing I was actually really surprised to learn about was the fact that Animal Crossing has an abundance of mangas that are written to coincide with the releases of new games that come out sometimes years after a new game comes out. Like for instance, the current running Animal Crossing manga is called Animal Crossing New Horizons Deserted Island Diary. And this one's interesting because not only is it the most recent one, but it also is one of the few that actually got translated into English, which is a pretty big deal. I mean, the art style is really cool if you are a fan of Animal Crossing, and it's just cool to see things translated in a different medium here. There's 6 total volumes. The last one that came out in English was back in March, and there's still 2 more that need to be translated yet. I actually might pick up this set once they all release, because that last neon looking one looks really cool. Now, interestingly enough, that's not where the Animal Crossing manga ends. There are so many other ones. Most of the time, they are only available in Japan in Japanese. There was a couple of one-off specials, or like a 2-volume special. This one's interesting. It's called News from Carefree Island, and it might be available in English. It's a little confusing to tell. It looks like it was translated possibly into English for other Asian countries, but hasn't seen a release in the West. There's another Japanese one-shot called Fuwa Fuwa Shima Puchigubi Besudo. My Japanese pronunciations are not going to be good here. While New Horizons definitely had the biggest boom of mangas made, the older Animal Crossing games also had some stuff made as well. New Leaf had a few really interesting ones. There's this one series that's been running essentially on and off since the Wild World days that had its last chapter in 2015, but would just periodically have a new chapter drop, and it would be related to whatever Animal Crossing game was out at that time, so it did Wild World, City Folk, and New Leaf. That one was also translated into Spanish, just not English. City Folk also had one dedicated series that had one chapter, and it was even labeled as chapter number 1, and then there was nothing ever to come from it again. And then of course there was a decent amount of old school Animal Crossing mangas from the old days, and those are kind of interesting to look at just to see how they kind of took the concepts of Animal Crossing and first evolved them into some other medium initially back when Animal Crossing was brand new. And then of course we all know about the Animal Crossing anime that came out sometime after Wild World. Unfortunately it never got a Western release. However, there is a fan dub out there that's actually pretty decent, and you can find sub versions of this as well. It's a good, decent anime if you're trying to kill a little bit of time. Now, when we set our sights on the wider merchandise that exists under Animal Crossing, when it comes to clothes, especially with New Horizons, it seems like Nintendo went full on, all out on marketing and merchandising and promoting, cross-promoting, partnering up with different companies to just get the most out of the popularity of Animal Crossing. So there has been some really interesting things over the years. One thing I found kind of interesting is here in the US, if you are looking specifically for Animal Crossing clothing that's like official, not like some fan-made shirt or something. Hot Topic, yeah, that place that used to be like the go-to emo punk store in the mid-2000s that turned slowly into like pop culture references. They really seem to have capitalized on a lot of the Animal Crossing hype, and their website will have a lot of the different clothes that are available, though it's not an exclusive deal. Like for instance, this t-shirt right here, I actually picked it up one time at Target. So maybe any place that sells like graphic t-shirts that are sometimes partnered with other brands and stuff might carry some Animal Crossing shirts, but there are some really interesting ones out there. I do think it's interesting that you can pick up Animal Crossing socks, and maybe this is just me, but I'm looking at the prices of these Animal Crossing socks, and it seems maybe a little excessive. I don't know. Maybe I don't have the ins and outs on how much socks should cost, but even if they have Tom Nook's face slapped on them, $13 for 2 pairs of socks? I don't know. 5 pairs for $17? Oof. Maybe they're good gift ideas, I guess, if you're like trying to get something for someone who really likes Animal Crossing, but I don't know. You guys can tell me in the comments if you think I'm crazy. You know, every once in a while, you'll just find something that Nintendo did a crossover with Animal Crossing's branding, and you're just like, oh, okay. Like, for instance, they did a kitchen set that has 2 plates and then a bunch of stuff that's not really related to kitchen stuff. Okay, to be fair, they call it the New Horizons Collector's Box, which includes 2 plates, a journal, that has like the Nook Inc. logo on it. There's an Isabelle collectible figure that really looks like a cheap knockoff of an amiibo that's totally not an amiibo. A KK slider and Tom Nook pin. A tiny Celeste light. Nightlight thing, and a little canvas of like Animal Crossing. I feel like this is probably worth maybe $20. It sells for $37, but at least there's some variety here. It just seems like really cheap quality stuff inside the box. I don't know, I'd almost rather them go all in on a real like plate set for Animal Crossing rather than like this weird collector's box that has just random things pulled from Animal Crossing. This isn't the only one that they have though. They have this interesting like turquoise themed one, which I actually think is way cooler. Not only is it less expensive, but it comes with like a cheapish bag that can be used as a backpack, a little lunchbox, a blanket, a hat, a water bottle. There's also this $35 option that has some stuff too. It looks okay. Is that just like a peach stress ball in the middle? I was trying to figure out what that is, but the posting doesn't really elaborate on what it is. A little while back, Animal Crossing announced that they're doing a crossover for chocolates that were Animal Crossing themed, which are really cool. And I think they were exclusive in Japan, but there are sellers that will like import them and then sell them. I found this really interesting. $34 unless it's on sale for $26. Kind of pricey, but then at the same time, it's always sold out every time I've checked. So I guess supply and demand, right? And the demand must be incredibly high for 6 Animal Crossing themed chocolates. But hey, if you have someone who really likes Animal Crossing, and you're trying to hook them up with Animal Crossing themed chocolates, I guess that's kind of like a cool gift idea. But yeah, good luck getting this when it's actually available. Now, way back, if you remember at peak Animal Crossing hype in 2020, one of the first crossovers that kind of came out of nowhere that was surprising was the Animal Crossing ColourPop makeup line. I'll be honest, I don't know too much about cosmetics or makeup, but this was just like the first taste that the Animal Crossing community had with like a full-on crossover type thing, and it was obviously a makeup line that had colors inspired by the Animal Crossing color palette. Different characters were represented. I don't really know how this compares price-wise to like actual makeup. I ended up asking my wife about this one because I just don't know what I'm talking about. She said it's probably something more for kids and like parents who want to like get some Animal Crossing stuff for kids, but probably also a little bit overpriced at the same time. Fortunately though, you can buy individual like parts of the set and not have to buy it all as the full set. But man, on Amazon, the prices can vary, so I don't know what's going on. There is a really cool line of Animal Crossing pillow plushie heads. Now, my wife and I do have a couple of these. We have specifically Isabelle and Tom Nook, but they do make KK Slider, Gulliver, and Flick, and also like the furniture leaf. It's interesting though that they have Flick and not like CJ, which kind of surprises me. Now, these guys can definitely vary in price because I got them online during like a sale a couple of years ago for a relatively fair price. But one time we were shopping at like one of those little game and pop culture store, and they had KK Slider, and I was like, oh, this is cool because we have the other two, and it was like $55, which is way more than what you can just order it online for. I get the stores have to make money, but it's just kind of a weird inventory choice, I guess. Okay, but then there's also some really cool things that are only exclusive in Japan, it seems like. I'm jealous, of course. But I mean, how could you not be? Look at this. It's like a little Tom Nook kitchen timer. A coin bank based on the Animal Crossing ATM? Hello? Is this like a shovel spoon? I don't even understand. It's like a fossil digging experience. There's plates, there's mats, there's Gulliver passed out. I don't know, this Japanese collection that is for sale is just really awesome. I wish this whole set would have come to the US. I didn't really talk about this too much also in this video, but there's a ton of other plushes for Animal Crossing things. Like they have smaller sized plushes for each character, they have larger ones. I got this KK Slider at the Nintendo store in New York. My wife brought it on the plane as carry-on luggage in her arm just to make sure it didn't get crushed during traveling. We were committed to this one. I'll be honest, I was a little bit surprised when I found out that there's a full-on Animal Crossing lineup for BuildABear Workshop. Now, I'm mostly surprised because I thought all of the BuildABear workshops closed down years ago. I haven't even heard the phrase BuildABear in so long. To me, it was the equivalent of like if Nintendo was like, hey, we're opening up an Animal Crossing exhibit at Chuck E. Cheese. Like who goes there? I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong on this and BuildABear's like super huge everywhere else in the country than where I live, but I mean, they're kind of interesting. There's something a little bit off about each of the characters. Like I'm not trying to fat shame Isabelle or Tom Nook, but the design that they made to bring the Animal Crossing characters into Build-A-Bear makes them look just a lot thicker than what their characters look like in any other plush form, any other presentation of the character. I don't know, maybe these look better in person, but looking at like the examples that they show off, it seems kind of like the manufacturer who makes like the thing for the Build-A-Bear base these off of like maybe the types of materials and characters that they make for Build-A-Bear, and not necessarily fully considering what like an Animal Crossing character would look like or compare it to a different Animal Crossing plush or something. They do have sound effects though, and then KK Slider can play KK Disco. Okay, I did end up looking at other versions of the Animal Crossing characters, and like people who posted the pictures of their characters that they made at Build-A-Bear look way better than the official promotional art that they used to promote this thing. So at least it looks better in real life than what than this. Who would have thought we would have gotten something new Animal Crossing related announced for 2024? It was unexpected, and some people are more excited about this than others, but Animal Crossing and LEGO are coming together to do some sort of cross promotion. They announced this with a really cool commercial, and then later on they showed what the products actually look like, and I do feel like some things are a little bit different from the commercial and the actual product, like look at these trees. But hey, Nintendo is using their Animal Crossing IP a little bit more, and I'm down for it if this maybe means Nintendo will finally realize that fans do want another Animal Crossing game sooner than later. While of course we can only speculate as to how well the LEGO set will do, if there'll be more things in the future Animal Crossing related, I did want to point out one interesting thing, marking that we could be entering a new era of Animal Crossing history. When Animal Crossing New Horizons released, they updated the logo to be a little bit brighter in color, and the background looked a little more wood textured. I don't know if I'm explaining that exactly the best way, but it was a lot clearer, and with the Animal Crossing LEGO approach, this time around the logo almost looks like it's reverted back to the logo that we've seen for Animal Crossing prior to New Horizons, with things like Animal Crossing New Leaf. The yellow in the logo is a little darker, the wood in the background is a little more generic, which maybe means that we're in this weird in-between space where they're using a general Animal Crossing logo before like a new game would be announced that would have an updated logo. Maybe Animal Crossing will go back to the old logo. And also Isabelle, look at this. Isabelle is definitely back in her pre-Animal Crossing New Horizons clothing, wearing what she would wear in Animal Crossing New Leaf, or like when she showed up in Mario Kart and Super Smash Bros. Tom Nook, however, is still in his New Horizons clothing, so I just wanted to point that out there too. This could just be like LEGO's own doing and has nothing to do with Nintendo necessarily, or Nintendo might be actively choosing what the character designs look like when they're collaborating with LEGO. But this definitely isn't it when it comes to Animal Crossing merchandise. There is so much more. Every year there's of course the regular Animal Crossing calendar that releases, so you could use that and count down the days until maybe one day we have a new game. Sometimes this is the closest thing you can hope for when it comes to new Animal Crossing content. Board games are kind of interesting. There is an official Animal Crossing New Horizons Monopoly set. This is one that I actually own, and I'll be honest, as much as I am down for Animal Crossing to have a Monopoly set, I feel like there's a lot of missed opportunities. They didn't really opt in for things like the traditional Monopoly gameplay and having locations that would be familiar to players. Instead, it's like there's fruit and fossils, and you have to acquire Nook Miles, and it's just more of a spin-off of Monopoly rather than an Animal Crossing themed Monopoly game. I don't know. As a kid, I used to have that Disney Monopoly set that was really popular, and at the very least, while that was like the Monopoly I grew up with, I could learn how to play that game and then go and play any Monopoly because they're all mostly the same. Like cottages were the equivalent of houses, and the castles were equivalent of hotels. In the Animal Crossing Monopoly, the rules are just different. There's like stacks of insects, fish, fossils, fruit. There's furniture pieces that tie into it, and it's fine. They try to do something very inspired by the game, but I feel like it's strayed a little too far from Monopoly. There is an Animal Crossing Guess Who game though, which I feel like this is a really cool concept. Now, I do remember back in the day, Guess Who, like once you hit a certain age, it becomes very, very easy. It's not like one of those games that you bust out with your friends as an adult nowadays and you're like, hey guys, let's get the boys together, we're playing Guess Who all night tonight. But for kids who play Animal Crossing, which still is a large portion of the Animal Crossing fan base, I do think that this is a cool spin on the Guess Who game type. I just haven't played this one yet personally. Okay, now over on Amazon, there's a company known as Culturefly, and they have Animal Crossing merchandise as well. Look at this. It's a kitchen set with BAM, an oven mitt, whatever these things are, I always forget the names of them. Are they like pot holders, I think? And it has Isabelle's face on it and then like a kitchen towel. And that's kind of cool. $20, fairly priced. There is a surprising official Animal Crossing Hallmark card, which you can use for like, I don't know, like a birthday or something. And it's like this 3-dimensional pop-up thing themed after New Horizons. I think this one is actually a really, really cool gift for like an Animal Crossing fan, I guess. I mean, at the very least, I personally think that this is better than the socks. Okay, now there are also a lot of other little Animal Crossing tie-ins, like official water bottles or special pencil bags or cosmetic bags. I do have to say, it does seem to be hit or miss if it's officially licensed by Nintendo or if it's like a little side arts and craft project that someone's selling their stuff online and totally not trademark infringing on Nintendo. But I'll be honest, sometimes those handmade things that are created by other fans are sometimes way better quality and way cooler than some of the official merchandise things that Nintendo will just slap a character on or something real quick. Now, over the years, there have been a handful of Nintendo official Animal Crossing themed consoles that have released over the years. Like, we all know about the Animal Crossing New Horizons Nintendo Switch that released alongside Animal Crossing, and that was such a big deal when that came out. Those things sold out so quickly, and it took a while before they were more readily available at not an extremely high scalper price, which just in general during 2020, consoles across the board were being scalped and resold for astronomically high prices. Okay, now more recently, this is my like low stakes tinfoil hat conspiracy theory from Nintendo. Nintendo has been selling new special Animal Crossing themed Nintendo Switch lights. This is like a new thing that they just started doing, and from what I can tell, it's just their turquoise and pink Nintendo Switch lights, but with a little Animal Crossing decal on them. I am suspicious that maybe with all of the demand for Nintendo Switches back in 2020, maybe Nintendo overproduced Nintendo Switch lights, and since people are speculating that there's going to be a new Nintendo console announcement in the next year or so, maybe Nintendo's trying to quickly empty out some of the inventory that they have of Nintendo Switch, and by adding an Animal Crossing decal, bundling it with Animal Crossing, they know it having that special edition collector's edition will help boost the sales and get these off of shelves. I mean, that for sure is happening. Whether or not they're doing it strictly because of a new console on the horizon, that's where my little conspiracy theory comes into play. But you know what? Nintendo has had some really cool Animal Crossing themed things in the past, like the Nintendo 3DS XL, or was it LL? There was this Japanese limited edition. I'm always confused on how the 3DS labels itself, but it was a very simplistic design, but very Animal Crossing inspired too. Just this clean white with all of the little logo designs of Animal Crossing things. I don't hate this one. It's probably a little hard to get your hands on this nowadays though. When Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer was announced, there was a similar version released in the West, though it shows more furniture items from Animal Crossing instead. There was like a turquoise and blue 2DS XL, which was already an interesting console released at the end of the 3DS line of consoles. There was a rare Isabelle Happy Home Designer 3DS that apparently had 2 different cover plates you could switch between. I found one for sale online for $1,600. I'm not buying that. There were some original DSs that were Animal Crossing themed that were only a part of like a magazine contest, and then it was like lost media, and there's a whole rabbit hole that we could fall in looking into these that we've talked about on our channel before when it comes to lost Animal Crossing media. But then one of the rarest pieces of Animal Crossing media was actually something available only in Japan way back when Animal Crossing was releasing on the GameCube, and if you were a Club Nintendo member, you could get a special limited edition Animal Crossing faceplate that would go right on the top of your GameCube that had Timmy and Tommy, of all characters. They were kind of this minor character in the GameCube version of Animal Crossing, only showing up once you had the Max Nook Cranny upgrade. But yeah, this is kind of cool, I think. Okay, but here's something so cool. I didn't think this would ever actually release, but it definitely did. Just about a year ago, in Japan only, they released Atsumare Dobutsu no Mori Toda Music Instrumental Section. It's a vinyl soundtrack that features 18 KK Slider songs from Animal Crossing New Horizons. And honestly, just look at this. This is such a cool idea, especially with the resurgence of like record players and like that vintage sound. But to get something like Animal Crossing on there, I think it's also really cool that the side A probably picks some of KK Slider's most popular songs like Bubblegum KK, DJ KK, KK Disco, KK Groove. But then if you flip it to side B, this is called the chill side. And it has like Chill Wave, Drive-In, KK Bossa, even the Welcome Horizons theme, and a bonus track, Hazure 02, which sounds like this. Now this was kind of like the third part of like their music releases when it came to New Horizons. Originally in 2021, they did a 4-disc set of the Animal Crossing soundtrack for CDs, and this has like everything. And then they followed it up with a 6-disc set when Happy Home Paradise was announced that had even more. It even had DVDs with like group stretching in it. And then of course, obviously they did the record. This was like the first time they did an official music release for Animal Crossing since like the City Folk era. So this stuff was really a big deal. But yeah, what do you guys think of all of these Animal Crossing merchandise related items that have released over the years? Which one is the one that you can't live without? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoy all things Animal Crossing, make sure you're subscribed with notifications on. I mean, you can try it if you are unsure, if you want to subscribe. And then if you don't like a video down the road, then you can unsubscribe then. But if it just give us a shot, I think you'll like the content we make here. Otherwise, that's it for today. We'll see you next time with a brand new video.